Now recognizes the gentleman from New York, Mr. King.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for holding today's hearing. It is a vital issue, and I want to thank all the witnesses. I want to thank Mr. Anderson. Certainly, Delta is a good employer in my district. In fact, I just got my flight confirmed for tomorrow on Delta, so I want to thank you for that. Dr. Druga, besides your testimony today, I want to thank you for the work you've done in Homeland Security over the years. You've been, and I've sometimes plagiarized some of your words without giving you credit, so let me do that now, okay? Thank you. Also, Captain Moak, I've had a very good relationship with the airline pilots, and Mr. Wilburn, you do, I believe, represent an American success story. So with all of that, I think I'm trying to find a way if we can be on the same page. I was impressed by what Mr. Campbell said about trying to find reforms. Mr. Anderson, you believe that reform is necessary. I believe we have to find a way to reauthorize the Export-Import Bank. I know we hear of crony capitalism, and that may happen in some cases, but certainly the businesses in my district are small businesses. We have a musical instrument string manufacturer, a woodworking tool manufacturer, a seafood distributor. I believe there's 10 companies in my district. I know Mrs. McCarthy mentioned a number in her district, which is next to mine, and in downstate New York, our districts are one on top of the other. So probably within the adjacent 4 or 5 districts, there are hundreds of employees from each of our districts that work in businesses in adjacent districts. So it is important. I also, I voted for every free trade agreement that's come before Congress since I've been here in 22 years. I believe in free trade. And I also don't like the idea of unnecessary government intervention. But I also know that countries such as Germany, France, China, Brazil, India, and Korea provide up to 7 times the support that export-import does. And to me, that is not a level playing field. And what we have to do, I believe, is find a way to level the playing field. If we just end our Export-Import Bank, I believe we are definitely giving advantage to our foreign competitors. And, you know, I think of former CBO director Douglas Holtz-Eakin, who is, if I can use the partisan term, a Republican economist. And he has said the reality is you would like to live in a world, and I would love to live in a world that does not have a need for an export-import bank, one where international transactions were done on a level playing field. That's just not the reality. Many other countries, notably China, have an export credit agency. They are all out there trying to gain market shares. The West simply has to not disarm. End of quote. And then Jim Nussle, who was a former Republican congressman, I served with him on this committee. He ended up being the director of OMB. He said export-import is self-funding and has generated income for the Treasury since 1992. Now, I bring these arguments out not to just make the appeal to authority, which they taught us in law school is one of the easiest things you can do. Find somebody who agrees with you, who supposedly is on the other side, and it sounds good. But I just feel what Mr. Campbell said is important. I don't see how we can just end our involvement with export-import now. I don't know if we should end it, but obviously reforms are necessary. We've seen the stories of corruption that's there, and obviously that has to be changed. But on the other hand, I think the blow to our economy by suddenly ending export-import, putting small businesses and also larger businesses at risk, is especially at this time when we're still have not fully recovered from the crash of 2008, at a time when there is the increased burdens of Obamacare, of the EPA, of regulations, of burdens, that it's just not appropriate and is not the responsible thing to do to end the authorization of export-import. At the same time, I believe reforms are necessary. If a way can be found before the expiration date to bring that about, I would strongly support that, work with that. I think it's essential that we do it. I think the chairman has raised important issues, but I think we go too far if we just say that we're going to end it. And as we saw today, there's always some government involved in the company. Bankruptcy is a government involvement. I support that fully, but that is the government getting involved in the economy to help businesses get back together. We use that. There's protections given to labor unions that are in our economy. We have veterans. We have senior citizens. Everyone had some government involvement. My goal is to keep that to a minimum, but I think we'd be going too far if we do not reauthorize export-import, but we should do it, I believe, with reforms. And I certainly look forward to looking at the working paper of the gentleman from California, Mr. Campbell, and thank him for his efforts. And Mr. Anderson, if nothing else, you've certainly forced Congress to pay more attention to you now, maybe than was done 2 years ago. And with that, I yield back the balance of my time.
Time of the gentleman has expired. Chair now